He who sprinkled stars in the heavens could do anything that he pleased.
Y'all, it's Mercy here with Thomas Nalley of Gold City.
Hey guys.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course, sing tenor for Gold City Quartet. I actually have an interesting way that I got here. I lost my hearing a couple of years ago. I was singing with Mike Lefevre and thought my career was over. I was sitting at home and just wondering, man, what am I going to do? And God miraculously healed me and opened up the door for me to be here. And I couldn't be any more happy. I love these guys. I love the ministry that we have here at Gold City, and we're just we're starting to see, our fans are getting more excited about the music that we're bringing out. We're going back and doing a lot of the older stuff, and I'm just excited to be a part of that. So, I love singing. I got 2 kids, Benny and Brianna. My daughter is a big ROTC. She's actually a commander. And my son, he loves to sing as well. He's on the praise team at church. So I'll celebrate 20 years of marriage actually next June. Not this June, but 2017. So that's big.
When did you get saved?
I got saved at an early age. Actually, my mother brought us to church just about every time the doors were open. I was probably about eight or so, and it was just in a little old-fashioned church. And she kind of instilled in my heart the desire to sing. I didn't start singing actually until I met my wife. She was a big Cathedral Quartet fan, but my mother led me to the Lord, and I've been saved at an early age, and it just kind of, I guess it stuck, hadn't really, I wouldn't say that I haven't backslid. We all make mistakes, but I pretty much followed God. I grew up in a very abusive, I had a very abusive childhood. I had 3 alcoholic fathers that would beat on my mother and cuss her, and so I kind of grew up thinking, that's kind of an avenue that led me to being saved, because I looked at God as the father that I didn't have at home, and he's the ultimate father, so very, very cool.
How did you get started singing?
My wife, actually. She introduced me to the Cathedral Quartet. When I grew up in high school, I was in choral stuff and did all-state and all that kind of thing. And so I loved the harmony, of singing, and never really had heard Southern gospel music. And we were actually shopping for our new home before our kids were born, and we were at a mobile home park, and they had a gospel quartet. They had like a family day, and did like a cookout, and they had a little stage set up, and I'm like, and they were nobody, it was just a local group, but to me, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I think I might like to do this. And then shortly after that, I saw my first professional group, which was Gold City. Jonathan Wilburn, Jay, Mark. Mark had just came on, so that was very exciting. And I actually talked to them afterward, and Jonathan told me to go to the Singing News and look for people who were looking. And so that's kind of how it all got started. So it's kind of neat for it to come full circle, to start out talking to Gold City, saying, man, I think I'd like to do this. To be here, it's just surreal. Yeah.
What is one of your favorite songs to sing and why?
I love I Know a Man Who Can. And it's just because we don't do it here. I used to sing a lot with Mike and with pretty much every group that I've been with before here. But I love the message of that song. I can't take a heart that's broken. I can't do all these things, but I know my God can. And And it's the same, as God of all gods. There's nothing that is too big for him, and I love that message. I love to sing it.
If you could sing any place in the world, where would it be?
Oh, I love singing in the bathroom, actually. No, we get to churches early, and I love the acoustics and stuff, and I'm like, man, I wish we could just move the stage in here sometimes. That's a good question. One of my favorite artists is Carrie Jobe, and she's a Christian contemporary artist, but there's a video on YouTube of her actually singing at Angel Stadium, and I think it would be kind of cool to do like any kind of baseball or football stadium. Just that large of a crowd would be so cool, and just two, it's more secular environment. It's people that wouldn't normally come to a church atmosphere. So I love anything like that, because there's so many people out there hurting, and like I said, they normally wouldn't step foot in the church, but maybe they'll go to a civic center, maybe they'll go to a basketball game or whatever. Wherever that is, that's where I would want to sing.
What is one of your favorite memories singing?
Oh man, there's been so many. Most of them involve people messing up or tripping as they run up on stage. That's a hard question. I love everything about what we do, and just every night for me is a memory. And like I said, to stand on the stage with Gold City and be a part of such a legacy and such a heritage is just amazing. I love it.
What is your most embarrassing moment on stage?
Oh, that would always be, well, I take that back. Most of the time it's just forgetting lyrics, but which I don't do a whole lot of. I'm actually more of the memory guy in the group. When people forget their lyrics, they'll turn around and look at me with like a panic on their face, and my brain will just automatically start going 100 miles an hour and going, I don't even sing this, but what is it? Trying to help them out. But I actually, we sing on this little tiny stage when I was first starting to sing. And, when, I know you notice, you guys watch so many groups, and you notice when somebody has a solo, they'll step out, and the rest of the group will step back. Well, I forgot how narrow the stage was, and nearly broke my ankle. I almost fell off the stage. I lost my balance, and so it was pretty embarrassing. So I would say that's probably number one. And then behind that, don't really do a whole lot of missing words, but when I do, that's embarrassing, absolutely.
What is your favorite Bible verse and why?
Man, I have so many. I recently, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I don't know the exact verse, but it's, He must increase and I must decrease. And I want to say it's like Philippians 4:13. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But that's what it talks about. And man, that just sums it all up, because it's not about me. It's not about any of us on that stage. It's about the one that we serve, and just opening people's eyes to what a great God He is. And if we'll just move out the way, He'll use anybody. I love that verse.
What are some of your hobbies?
I've recently, in the last year, I've found out that, and this, people are going to laugh, but my daughter loves Tinkerbell. And I know this is a weird way to set this up, but on there, and I know this because we used to babysit this little girl, and my daughter would make her watch Tinkerbell just to calm her down. So we saw this like 50 gazillion times. But on there they call them Tinker Fairies, and that's what Tinkerbell is. Well, I have recently discovered that I'm pretty mechanically minded, and I love doing do-it-yourself projects and stuff. And my wife will she calls me Tinker Fairy now, which is kind of funny because I'm a tenor singer and, we have the stereotypical. But I love doing do-it-yourself projects. I love doing, I do phone cases on the side. I have my own business called High Note Customs. And I also work a little bit with firearms, which is kind of weird, for a tenor singer. But I just love a lot of hands-on things. It's awesome. I love everything sports. I've got a lot of hobbies.
Who's the prankster on the bus?
That would be Brian. Not so much anymore, as far as I'm concerned, because whenever I first came, me and Brian were kind of back and forth, and it just got so bad of us one-upping each other that we finally was like, truce. One of the things he did to me last Christmas, he was like, well, it was the first Christmas I was here, and he said, I was getting ready to leave, and he said, hey, I almost forgot I got you a Christmas card. And I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, and so I went back on the bus. Well, he snuck out and had a urinal cake. I don't know if you know what that is. It's what they put in the toilet. And he crumbled it all up and smeared it all over my floorboard in my car. Well, when I get into the car, it is just terrible. It's like a chemical smell that just won't go away. So I go all the way home. I drive home. The next day, I'm taking my daughter to school, and she gets in the car, and she's like, Daddy, what's that smell? I could not get rid of that smell for like a week. So I had to do something even better, to get him back. And I remember we were in Greenville, and we had access to showers, and our showers weren't working on the bus. And so they had set up a room where we could use showers. And we had to walk like all the way across campus to get in. And this was when Chip was with us. Chip and I had gone in, and we were taking shit. It was like this huge, gym type setting. And Brian comes in, takes his shower, gets done, leaves and turns the lights off. Well, this room, it was, kid you not, the size of the sanctuary in here tonight. Which for those of you who didn't come tonight, shame on you, but no. No, it's a big sanctuary. And we were stumbling around in the dark. We were from here to the door away from our cell phones. We had no idea what this building was. It was the first time we'd ever been in it. And here Brian turned the lights off on us. So we were like, man, how are we going to get him back? We got back to the bus, and Brian had walked off somewhere getting something to eat. So Chip and I grabbed his clothes, all of his clothes off the bus, and threw them in a guy that had come to visit us, threw them in his truck. And when Brian went to get ready, we told him, your clothes are back there in the shower. So he walks all the way back across the campus, and we said, we noticed they were wrinkled, so we were steaming them. So he gets all the way over there and notices they're not there, of course. So then he comes back and he finds them. So then he has to do something again to me, And we just kind of went back and forth. And finally, what kind of ended it all is I took he had this laptop that he just loved. And I took his laptop, I took his blankets off of his bunk, just wrapped it all together and put it in one of our product cases under the bus. And told him I threw it away. So after that, we called a truce. But yeah, between Brian and I, we're probably the pranksters. Absolutely.